already set up my machine to clean my water to the highest purity. So we're all good on all that. And now it's time to make the vacuum smoothie, using the vacuum blender. Today, I think yesterday did okay. That was probably the best one so far. Today I'm going to modify it again just a little bit, and hopefully we'll do even better today. So I will say, probably nobody's watching today. It's okay. I mean, this is what I do anyway, so it doesn't change much. Let's see here. So I'm putting my pure in powder for the nutrition. That's what I normally do. And why? Okay, so it's like, why? Why would you use the powder? Is that protein powder? No, definitely not protein powder. It is all about, see, look, a lot of people don't realize that almost all food has protein in it. I mean, maybe that's a shocker to people, but that is like, even this has protein. I just read the label, protein. You know, everything has protein, practically. And this is just some raw cacao. So I'm not into protein powders. They use whey protein and this type of stuff. Doesn't appear to be good for health. My whole goal is, which I personally think this should be anybody's goal who's trying to be at their optimal health or even try to resolve some issues, because they're discovering, and I've been trying to say this forever, they're discovering the correlation between disease and deficiencies. And so to give you some examples, just recently, like in regards to depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, actually, they are discovering that it's possible that many of those patients, maybe not all of them, but they're saying many, the numbers that I saw were over 80%. So that's pretty massive. Could be simply related to deficiencies in B vitamins. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because I just recently spoke to somebody who's been watching my channel, actually. And this particular person has had some type of issues in regards to kind of like schizophrenia and whatnot. And the interesting thing is he's following my protocol, and he's like, dude, I have literally transformed. It's like, this is unbelievable. He's like, I'm getting my life together, way more motivated, way more inspired. I should probably do a video about this person, because it's really changed him, and it's been really impressive. I'm always super happy when people's lives improve, because I just really believe, it's my own personal belief system here, not to get into my beliefs, but I just believe that when we are good people and we're at our best, that we bring that into the world. And so we can either bring bad things into the world, or we can bring good things into the world. And you know what? I'm actually going to, and so I like to see people at their best, and I was very impressed with his results. As I tend to be pretty impressed with, it's funny, as many years as I've been seeing absolutely incredible results, I still get super impressed when people get like super, super good results. And mental stability, mental health. I mean, and that's why I want to overcome deficiencies. By the way, flax seeds, these are another amazing product, and they're just food. That's the crazy part, just flax seeds. They've done studies on these. They showed very, very positive attributes in regards to breast cancer. I think probably cancer in general, but the specific study that I saw was for breast cancer. And that's one of the reasons that I started adding, but there were some other pretty awesome benefits to flax seeds also. And, they're affordable. You can find them. They're not expensive, Anything that I can find that is not crazy expensive that I can throw in my smoothie, I'm pretty happy with. But probably the powders tend to be the most expensive part, but they're just full of superfoods, I think that's kind of the reason for how expensive they are, and they're really clean. That's what I like too. No pesticides and and that kind of stuff, you know. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm trying to see if I can find a few good beet leaves here that I can just throw in here because they're going to go bad. And they're really good for you too. In fact, I believe last time I saw, there seems to be a little contradictory information online, but it appears that beet leaves have vitamin D, guys. If you know anything about vitamin D, it's almost impossible to get it from food. And most of the food that does have it, in my personal opinion, because it's a lot of seafood, is pretty contaminated. Seafood is, I love seafood, but man, it's contaminated. And I know people who've eaten it, and when they get their blood work done, it's not good. Oh, look at this. This is the last beet, really? Well, alrighty then. It appears that we are on the last beat, which means, as you probably well know, I'm going to have to go grocery shopping. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that today. Last beets. We're low on, getting a little low on celeries. I guess we're okay on celery so far. So I'm going to put rich leafy greens. Rich leafy greens, like super greens. Let's see, what did I see? I've read it before, but I just saw it again, I think the other day. They are the most dense in nutrients in regards to how many calories they have and something like that. They're just incredible. You know, there's a reason that they used to always tell us, make sure to eat your vegetables and your fruits. And so we're going to put that in here today. And by the way, thanks for the thumbs up, guys. Oh yeah, let's see. Are you guys making any comments or questions? Nope. If you have any questions, this is a really good time. You're the very few people. So there's 6 people in here, and you're the few, the proud. No, you're the few people who are in here because a lot of people come in later, and then the video's over, and they're like, "Oh man, I missed your live." So you actually get to be here for it live, which most people don't really get to. So you can ask any question you want, and you don't have to set up like a consult with me or something. Now, I will say, remember, I don't give any medical advice. I don't make any medical claims, but I can tell you what I would personally do. Or if you have any questions about just water, hydrogen, you know, health in general, or just any question really, whatever you want. It don't matter. It's almost like a podcast. You can just talk about whatever subjects. Usually I try to stay away from the stuff that people probably like talking the most, which is about religion and politics. If you ask, I guess I can try to give you my opinion, but usually I try to stay away from those topics. But I am kind of an open book here, so I tend to just answer whatever. But what I'm basically doing here, as you can probably imagine, is I'm just making my normal daily breakfast. Why do I do this? Well, what I normally do is I always drink my super clean. And when I say super clean, I'm not talking about a normal filter, by the way, because a normal filter can't do what a carbon distiller can do. It just can't. And basically here, I'm just consuming my hydrogen-rich water in the morning on an empty stomach that is super clean, which means I don't use any device that uses chemicals like lye, sodium hydroxide. I don't use any hydrogen pills, because I'm all about the purity. I want it the absolute cleanest possible. No chemical reaction, obviously. I want the highest purity. Why? Well, because that's what I personally discovered is what helped me transform my health. Purity is really important, both in your food, which is why I tend to try to go all organic. I don't want this stuff sprayed on the food. You know what's sad about stuff being sprayed on food is that it actually makes the poor farmer sick. And that's wild, right? How can they be growing something? Think about that. How can they be growing something and using chemicals that makes them sick and then we're supposed to eat it? I don't know, guys. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't, I would like, and I'm very grateful to farmers. I feel like it's very hard work. And I feel like farmers should be able to, quote unquote, go to work and grow food without it making them sick or wearing a hazmat suit or something just weird. Again, it's just very strange to me. You know what's funnier is that we grow food for like thousands of years without chemicals, and all of a sudden now we can't even grow them without chemicals. I don't know. Seems a little strange to me. And even all organic, they still, they still have some chemicals sometimes. Not a lot. The levels are so much lower. I have seen the tests, and the difference is definitely pretty dramatic. Okay, now that we put our ginger in there, which is also anti-cancerous, I have a lot of anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic ingredients in these smoothies, but they're all food. See, here comes the blueberries. More anti-cancerous, anti-angiogenic. The thing about these smoothies these days, let's see here, I'm having to put in quite a bit less than I normally do. This particular blender, as much as I like it a lot, actually, it's just smaller. And so I end up having less smoothie. But it's funny, yesterday I drank my smoothie and I was fine. I was able to get through the day. By the time I got to dinner, though, I was getting hungry. Okay, looks like, where did it go? Where did it go? Do we really have to do this again? Yeah, where did my natto go? So I'm looking for my natto, which is my fermented beans, which are full of protein, like as much as a piece of steak, but it's also full of a very wonderful enzyme called nattokinase. I'm going to have to go look real quick. So for that, I apologize. But I will show you my hydrogen raisins. Another thing you're going to notice, this is one of the best unknown secrets for health, just so you know. Literally one of the best secrets that nobody knows about. But once I talk about it, I'm sure it's going to go out into the internet because that's what always happens. And the secret is water in your food. That is the secret. And look, see, this is why I'm soaking. And then, of course, if it's clean water, even better. And if it's clean hydrogen water, well, at that point, not sure you can do much better than that. So right now I'm putting almonds. Were soaked, or not almonds, I'm sorry, walnuts. Shown to be anti-cancerous in studies also. And I'm putting those that were soaked in super clean hydrogen water in the smoothie. Why? Well, for one, more nutrients, more fiber, more water to the GI. But let me go, and I hate to do this to you guys. It only takes a second, but I gotta go through 3 flights of stairs, which I guess multiplying by there and back is 6 flights of stairs. But what I'm going for is I'm not the voice. I have one, unfortunately, it's very expensive, fancy natto that I did not want to use for the smoothie, but it appears that's what I'm going to have to do. And so you guys are in for a treat. You're going to get to see what that looks like. They look different. So again, almost nobody's in here. Only you guys get to see it. So let's show it to you. All right, let's see how many people are going to get to see this. There is only 10 people in here. All right. You guys are the lucky ones. Oh, and by the way, might as well do this too. I'm going to soak. You guys want to see how I make my hydrogen raisins? So what I do, and why sun-dried raisins? Well, they're sweet, so they're going to make the smoothie taste good. But clearly the reason is because, well, there's many reasons actually. But one of them is that they have natural boron in high levels. Not everything has high levels of boron. And raisins are inexpensive. One of the things, if you notice, is I'll try to get things that are easily accessible and affordable. Now, sometimes I have to make an exception to that rule, which was natto. Natto is one of those things that are a little trickier to find sometimes. Okay, so here's my hydrogen water. And again, depending on how you make it, you do not want to make the wrong kind of hydrogen water and be soaking your raisins in it. That would not be good. That would not be good at all. So I wouldn't do this with probably the Kangen machines I probably wouldn't do this with, definitely not the Brown's gas machines, or directly electrolyzed water, stuff like that. That's something that I wouldn't personally do, but for multiple reasons. There's a reason. You really want, hydrogen, by the way, is supposed to be pH neutral for those people who don't know. So the moment you're manipulating pH, you're not making the hydrogen water correctly. And a lot of people apparently don't understand that. But okay, beyond that, let's go back to the magic natto. Here it is. Like I said, there's only a few of you who are going to get to see this one. Let's see here. Demone Daniel says, appreciate your work. Wow, thank you. That's very kind of you. Earthman says, that's why people used to love raisins. The high boron likely made them feel really good. I always wonder why raisins were so popular. Yes, boron affects, muscles, ligaments, brain function, all this stuff. But the big one, I've been doing experiments with this on some people, and how it affects what's called sex hormones. And basically, it goes for both men and women. So it helps with the testosterone, the estrogen. And now I'm going to show you these really fancy natto. It's probably going to make my smoothie taste so good today. This one tastes like buttery, guys. This is a very hard natto to find. Oh, let's smell it too. Let's just see if this one smells different. Let's see here. It definitely looks different. I can already tell it looks different. And I just had a bunch of natto yesterday for dinner. If you saw my video about natto dinner, but let's smell this. Ooh, that smells pretty good. See the size? Look how they look different. Okay, let's activate it. You activate it by stirring it 100 times. Now, part of the function of this smoothie is, there's a lot of functions to it. But one is, you want to make sure to get certain things in your body. And a lot of people, when you talk to them, they're like, well, yeah, I eat vegetables. Maybe they think, lettuce and tomato on their hamburgers, vegetables. It's hard to get a lot of these stuff in us. And because a lot of times it's stuff that doesn't even really satisfy us, right? People are like, I can eat all this lettuce. And, it's funny, this smoothie, it used to not totally satisfy me at the beginning. And in time, I realized, I'm going to share something very interesting with you guys. I didn't even realize that I had some problems with addiction. Didn't even realize it. That's crazy, guys. Because usually people who have an addiction, I think they know it. Like if somebody who's like, and I smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. And you were to say, well, can you stop? No. Do you know you're addict? Yeah, I know I'm addicted to them. Or whatever your addiction may be. I think most people know when they're addicted to something. That's my personal opinion. And comment below if you think, make a comment there if you think that I'm wrong, or that if you have experienced anything different than what I'm just talking about. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had an addiction and I didn't even realize that I had it. And I didn't realize that I had it until I overcame the addiction. And then I realized, oh my God, it wasn't until I overcame it. I didn't realize that I had it until there's certain things that I stopped craving. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I've been reading some stuff on processed sugars. Wow, this nut was amazing. This one it just tastes like it was dipped in butter. And I know that it's not. Okay, let's put a little hydrogen water in here. We got to be careful with that today because that's the part that messes everything up. And I'm going to tell you about this addiction. And maybe some people don't want to hear it, right? Maybe people are going to be like, let me run out of here. Hurry, get out of this. I don't want to hear this. It's funny how sometimes people really don't want to hear the truth. And I get it. They think they do. But then when the truth comes along, sometimes we don't want to hear it. Yeah, I understand. Sometimes the truth is tough. It's tough to admit our shortcomings or whatever. Okay, now that we got the natto in there, what's next? I'm going to go with this wonderful beet here, and I guess this is my last one, which is too bad because I don't have enough room for this, for these leaves, and I would have really liked to put them in there. I got to say, that's the only thing that I'm disappointed about this blender, but you got to remember too, I try to make smoothies for multiple people. If you're just doing this for yourself and maybe like you know, your husband or wife or whatever, or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, you probably would be just fine with this. But I just make massive, massive smoothies. But I'm Japanese in this part where I prefer quality over quantity. That is something that is always, especially when it comes to your health. Like, I'd rather have 5 amazing organic beets full of nutrients than have 10 of them that are not nearly as good. So quality is everything. The Japanese are really into super high quality stuff, you know. And I don't know, I'm wondering if this is going to be too many beets for here. Let's find out. You know what? Let's chop them into little smaller pieces. I never do that. Normally the blender does that for me, but let's just go ahead and make its job a little easier. Okay, I guess I'm going to just put this last beet in here just because what am I going to do with it? Let's put it in the smoothie. Okay, let's push it all down in there, see if we can make room. Ooh, that looks very interesting. Wow, you guys want to see that? Here, I'll show it to you. Maybe, maybe nobody cares. It's only interesting to me. I've never really seen natto mixed with beets, but somehow it seems to go well. It also seems to go well with bananas. But here, check out this view. I don't know, it looks interesting. Okay, it's like, dude, you're just silly. Weirdo. Okay, let's see here. Earthman says you'd hear about old ladies who'd have a huge jar in her bedroom. Really? See, that's interesting because that's what I've noticed. It works. Jason Jones says, "Good morning, Greg. Good morning there." Earthman says, "How critical do you think hydrogen was to overcoming addiction?" You know, I think it was a combination. I think it was, but there is some data to, and you already know this is not medical advice or claim, but there is some data to suggest that it can definitely help. And I'm not the only one who's experienced it, but I've talked to other people who've experienced it, and I'm starting to wonder. I think it helps. Do I think it's like a silver bullet? No. I'm not going to go as far as saying, oh, it's a silver bullet. All you do is drink a high glass of hydrogen water and boom, your addictions are gone. Not quite like that. And there's probably things out there that work better for overcoming certain addictions. My particular addiction had to do with sugar. And I didn't realize it. I just thought, oh, okay, I'm craving a bowl of cereal, or I just thought I don't know. You know, I didn't think it was like a real true addiction. And the more that I would do this and I would make an effort to not have cereal, and the more I would continue with these smoothies, eventually I could have a smoothie and just not want the cereal. And I thought, oh, I don't even want it. So I don't have to fight myself. And I thought, well, that's nice. You know, it was just pleasant that I didn't have to. And then with time, there's some new information from Japan, which I was going to do a video about it. I was thinking about it. There's so many videos that I'm supposed to do and I just haven't done. And in the new video, I was going to talk about this new information they discovered about sugar in Japan. And it's not any type of sugar. They discovered that it's a specific type of sugar, which is basically all processed sugar. It could even be coconut sugar. It could be, because when they process it, it's just like basically just granules of coconut sugar, cane sugar, or just plain old processed sugar, and especially things like high corn fructose corn syrup. That's going to be obviously taking the sugar thing to a whole other level. You know what, guys? I think, am I almost done here? I feel like I'm missing an ingredient or two. Like I said, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, making the smoothie smaller like this is actually, not only am I using less produce, but the nutrients are higher, so I'm probably going to get roughly the same amount of nutrients. It's probably going to cost me money by using less produce, but the most interesting aspect of it is it feels like it's faster because I don't utilize as much stuff. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully that answered your question, Earthman. Octavio Moreno says, "Hi, Greg. Thanks for all the great information you are putting out, and I can wait for my vacuum blender. I ordered it because of you." Well, awesome. I really hope that you enjoy it. And I think it's actually a really good price. They used to be $500 or something, and with the discount code now they're like $379. And you obviously get the whole blender. you get everything, including on top of it all, their vacuum system. And I think the vacuum system on its own is like $300. So I think it's a smoking deal. The blender seems to be of good quality. I can tell that it blends. It doesn't get stuck. It actually gets stuck less than my Vitamix. And not that I don't like the Vitamix, and the company actually has an attachment or an adapter. So if you have a Vitamix, you're like, hey, I want to do the vacuum blend, but I believe that's set up. I don't remember the price, but I think it's, I don't know, 200 and something dollars. That's why I was like, just get the whole system. It's because I think it's like 299. I don't remember, but something like that. It might be $300. So for $79 more, you get literally the whole blender, which is a good thing, right? Because eventually they burn out. And I say eventually, I mean, I've been using them for years, and I think I had one after many, many, many years of literally abuse. The funny thing about this particular blender with the Vitamix, it feels like I'm kind of abusing it, really stuffing it in there. Well, I'm stuffing this one, but it's kind of like if you're towing a giant trailer with a Corolla, like a little Toyota Corolla. It feels like you're abusing the car because, it's trying to tow this massive thing. But if you're towing it with like some massive truck, it's like, oh, this truck can handle it. You're not abusing it. And with this blender, I got to say, it doesn't feel like I'm abusing it. It doesn't feel like I'm stuffing these vegetables and that it can't handle it and that I have to grab the little, I don't know what that thing's called, but it's like a black stick that you put in there and try to shove everything down into the blades. And I don't know. It just doesn't feel like I'm abusing this thing at all. So it feels like it can very much handle, and I hope you enjoy your vacuum blender too. Just remember, just like the hydrogen machine, what I'm learning about this vacuum blender is there are certain things that you might do to damage it. So hopefully you'll learn, and maybe you'll learn just by watching me because I'm learning along with you guys. I'm just learning how to do this. Let's see here. Let's see. Just got to make sure I don't cut my finger here. Do you guys see how Michael Jordan, did you guys know Michael Jordan cut his finger off? Yep, he cut his finger off by accident, of course. On purpose. He became Van Gogh. No, he cut it by accident. I believe he was cutting a cigar. He loves smoking cigars, and he got his finger in there. I don't know how he got his finger in there. Maybe he'd been drinking or something. I don't know. Somehow he got his finger in there instead of the cigar. How does that happen, right? Because it's almost like a little hole you'd have to stick your finger through there. But sometimes we do things we're not looking. Okay, where's the water here? Check this out. The water is right around here. I don't know. I feel like I could put a little more water, but I probably shouldn't because last time I thought that things didn't go well. Okay, so that's a smoothie, guys. I can't believe it. Why did it feel so fast? I really do feel like I'm missing some ingredient. But okay. Okay, guys, you're here, all 12 of you. Okay, this is what we do. We're supposed to wet the rubber seal here. So I guess what I'm going to do is, I don't know, rub my hand on it with water, I guess. Now, the reason you're supposed to wet it, you're not supposed to, but I mean, it helps. They said put it on and to remove it. And sometimes this thing can be really tight. And so, okay, so there we go. So wet the rubber seal. Let's see how this works. We're perfecting this, guys. We're perfecting it. Okay, now I'm going to put it on. Now, the thing about putting it on, you could really spend a lot of time pushing it really hard. See, it'll go on easily right there. See, it's already on, actually. That was super easy. But to really push it even deeper would take more effort. But I'm not going to because when you turn on the suction, it pulls it on anyway. So you're about to see that if you notice the little spacing here is going to go away. Okay, now, let's turn it on. Now, this is going to be the tricky part. Hopefully you guys can see this. See where the water is right here? See the water level? All right, here we go. Watch this when I turn it on. Let's see here. Let's go with that setting. So let's go. Let's watch the water level rise. You can see all the air bubbles. All the air is being sucked out. The water is now up to here. See, I'm starting to wonder if I could have put more water. But watch all the air bubbles. Look at all this. Look at all these bubbles everywhere. You can see all these bubbles. Okay, it stopped. Wonderful. Oh, And look at that. And the water is actually to here. It's looking like I got me some room. Okay, and the machine stopped on its own. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut it off. Actually, let's choose a different option. There's a one where it pumps even stronger, which is probably a little much for this, but let's just see what happens. Let's see if the water goes any higher. It's right to here. More bubbles still coming out, so I mean, that's a good thing. Sucking all the air out of it. Oh yeah, that one's really sucking hard here. Probably unnecessary, but we're right up to here with the water. Let's see. Yep, right up to here. Where are we at here? It's supposed to go to a 25 suction, and it's at an 18. You know what? There's still a little room, guys. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is probably kind of silly for me to do this at this point. So try to add more water, but I do want just a little bit more water because should I? Shouldn't I? I'm going to. Okay, so this is going to be a pain in the rear now because now I got to shut it off. And let's see, do I really want to add more water? I really do. I got to release the pressure. You guys want to see the water level go down? Watch this. So the water is up to about right here. Now watch when I release this. Ready? Whoa, did you see that? Okay, so that was that. Now the reason that I don't want to do this over and over is because taking this lid off every time. Now, granted, my little secret is a little tissue that I discovered. I have to put it under the vent to release the pressure. Otherwise, this lid doesn't come off very easily. And this thing is on there tight because, well, it's all suctioned on there. My technique is right here on the corner where the handle is. I put my fingers on this and I put my thumb on that corner and see, I can lift it off. That's my technique. Now, what sucks about all this, no pun intended. What sucks about this, what I just did here, it's not the vacuum blender's fault. It's my fault that I didn't put enough water. So now let's try to put a little more water. Where are we here? The water, we're about here. I'm gonna just put a tiny bit more hydrogen water. And this is probably gonna be a mistake, but tiny bit. That's very little. Now watch, it's gonna end up being all, the reason we don't want it too high, now we're up to here. The reason we don't want it too high is because it'll suck it into, so here's the trick. This thing has a pump and a suction thing, and you don't want it to pull water into there. That's why we don't want the water going way up in there. But I want it closer than what it was. So let's try this again. I don't really know which, I think this is just a square. Okay, so let's try this again. We'll put it on here. I guess I don't need to put it on that hard. It'll suck it on itself. Okay, so then I turn on the power, and then watch the water again. Ready? Go. See water rising? Right up to here now. I don't know, it's looking like I can still fit more water. I'm gonna have to figure this technique out. Water's right to here. Live and learn, live and learn. Interesting. Well, I can stop that. So, can I blend this? I'm sure I could. I'm just keep trying to get more water in here. I wish there was like a little opening I could pour a little water in there. That's what I wish. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and go with it. Okay, now the fact that I'm going to blend it, let's suck a little more air out. Okay, now the fact that I'm going to blend this thing, I'm going to make sure the pump is off so you guys can see this and see if it gets stuck, because you saw how much stuff I put in that thing. It's still sucking right now, but the water just reached here. I still see bubbles coming up, so I might give it a second here. I want it to suck all the oxygen out so it doesn't oxidize my beautiful smoothie here, my little beautiful creation. Okay, that's good enough. So I personally shut it off. Now you don't have to, because apparently it has a setting where it can continue sucking while you're blending, but I don't want mine sucking while it blends because I don't want to damage something. Now let's see if it gets stuck. Wow, that was easy. Perfect. That's really nice. You can even tell. Whoa. All right, let's try this. See, I think, I don't know, I wonder if a little water helps with that. Let's just go, I don't want to go too high actually, because it seems to have like a, I can see it. It creates the vortex of pulling everything to the bottom to the blades. And right a little over halfway, right here I can see it's perfect vortex. But if I turn it up too high, it seems to go away. So I'm gonna let it do its thing here. Let's see if I turn it up a little more. And it's perfect. Okay, let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. Meanwhile, I'm gonna grab my smoothie jars. Do not fall on me, blender, while I'm grabbing my jars. Yesterday it almost went off the counter. I was like, don't do that. Oh yes, what a thing of beauty there. It's working great. Can you see the vortex in there? Probably not. And then I'll turn it up, let's see. See, and then it stops. Oh, whoa. The vortex stopped. What if I turn it down? Does it start again? Nope, it doesn't start again. Interesting. Let's start from zero again, see if that helps. Yep, there it goes. There it goes. Perfect, right around right there. Yeah, that's not perfect. Okay, so meanwhile, while that beautiful smoothie is blending, I'm gonna grab my nutrients, which I'm almost out of. But I still have the most important nutrient of them all, which is this one right here. Like, this is the most important one, guys, because it's so almost impossible to get this from your food. Now, I don't like pills. If you've noticed, pills have binders, and I've seen weird stuff in lab reports. I don't trust pills practically unless I absolutely have to. Did I do it? I messed up. I had it going perfect, too. You know what? I'm going to let a lot of the produce soak to the bottom there for a second. The reason I said I messed up is because it was going so perfectly smooth that it wasn't getting on the lid. But now I got on the lid. And when I say on the lid, I mean on the inside of the lid. You're going to see when I remove it how you're going to see how there's smoothie all over it now. But I think I had it almost perfect where I didn't hit. See, if I don't hit the lid, guys, that's going to mean ultimately for me. And by the way, I can't seem to get this thing off, so we're going to cut it. What that means is that if I put a little more water and I gently blend it, then I can make all this work. So again, this is all a work in progress, trying to perfect this. I thought I had it down today, but I just clearly didn't. Trying to get this all perfect here. Okay, stop again. The vortex seems to start from the beginning, and I can see it just do its thing perfectly. Nope, too far. Too far. It's still chopping up vegetables though. That's why it's bouncing around. I don't know. It should be good enough. I can still hear it chopping vegetables though here and there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these with some hydrogen water. Now I'm probably going to put a little more water than I normally do because I like having that water in my smoothie. I don't like it to be too thick. I used to put less, but you know what? This might be a good thing because now that I'm putting a lot of water in, we're talking fresh hydrogen water here. So this is the best. Fully saturated, made correctly, made cleanly. None of the silly stuff out there, in my personal opinion. Do it right or don't do it at all. All right, we're going to go with that. We're just going to go with that. Make sure it's all working. Okay, now let's see if this changes when I release the pressure. You guys want to see the level difference? I don't think it should change anything, but it's right up to here. Let's release the pressure. Oh, yep, it did. It did go down. Okay, now to take this lid off, this has been the secret I've discovered. They need to do something about this, in my opinion, because this little vent, I got to use a little tissue, because as you try to release it, there's pressure, and this little thing, this little red thing, you have to keep it open so that all the air can go out. Okay, so I'm going to put my thumb against this corner. This is my new technique. And look at that. Look at that. I was able to get it off almost no problem. See, not so hard. Perfected that quickly. I've seen people do these videos for years who didn't figure that one out. And see, what did I tell you? Smoothie all over this thing. And I almost got it done without that, guys. I almost got it done nice and clean like. All right, let's just scrape some of this smoothie off, because as you guys know, I don't like to waste anything. I want to honor all the farmers who worked hard to grow this beautiful organic food. So therefore, I don't want to waste it. Plus, I don't want to waste my food. I want it all in my stomach and my GI system. Bring me all the wonderful nutrients and good for my microbiome. People don't realize that your microbiome is actually responsible for almost 80% of your immune system. And the Japanese are definitely discovering. And by the way, this machine's off right now. The lid is off, so I can actually rinse it like this in water. That's pretty wild. I didn't think that you could put this thing in water, but apparently the manufacturer said yes, as long as it's not running. And you can dry it right away. So I'll just maybe dry right away, but you don't have to, I don't think. But just don't turn it on and suck any water into it. Okay, now we're going to do something kind of funny. Well, first, actually, let's add the nutrients. See how thick this is? This is just so thick. It's almost, dare I say, too thick. Now, does it bother me? Nah. Well, let's not lose some hydrogen water here. But this is what I'm going to do. I discovered already a little secret. Okay. Oh, yes. You can definitely taste that difference. Okay, let's go with the nutrients. Actually, I want to go with this one first. If you can't get it from your food, which you want to pretty much get almost everything from your food, but you can't get D from your food pretty much. And this is ionic. Ionics will be your second best bet. Number one is always food. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. According to 8. According to the manufacturer, 5 is 5,000 IUs, but is each drop truly 1,000 IUs? That's hard to believe. Oh, whoops. Okay, so here we go. Next one is chlorophyll, ionic chlorophyll. This one is not totally necessary. You get it from your rich leafy greens. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8. But again, it was a gift, and it's a gift that I've actually really liked. So better than I expected. So this is what I'm doing now. Check this out. So I pour the rest of it in. And look what I'm going to do. I'm actually surprised how good it works. And I don't know why it works. I'm starting to wonder if it works because, well, I don't know why it works. Because it doesn't work when I make normal smoothies. So somehow it must work because it's a vacuum smoothie. I honestly don't know. But watch this. So I take the lid. And I have another vacuum system here. And I'm going to turn it on. The vacuum. So as you can see, this is to preserve it. So we're vacuum, because that smoothie will probably last. I mean, I'm going to eat it before it ever goes bad. But man, this thing could probably last, shoot, easily a week probably. I mean, maybe longer. I've never even tested because I end up drinking it. But watch this. So if I just do a minor little shake, very minor, it's all easily mixes all together and it stays that way. A lot of times the stuff settles to the bottom and that kind of thing. It's kind of wild. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it works. And the good news is that I'm using fresher hydrogen water, so I think that's even going to enhance it more, along with the less oxidation. I mean, we're talking making the mother of all smoothies. Let me try that with this one too. Yep, it works. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is put this is probably one of the most powerful foods, hemp hearts, organic hemp hearts. This stuff is absolutely next level too. When you look at the nutritional content, it's It's almost like a multivitamin all by itself. Massive amounts of well-balanced protein. I believe it's the most well-balanced protein in the world, better than any steak, better than anything. Perfect balance of omega-3s and 6s. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's try this. Let's put a lid on this guy just in case. We don't want anything falling in here. And let's answer your questions. It's good, but I think I put a little too much water. But it's still delicious. Okay. Not sure if this was a very good video today, I gotta tell you. And for that, I apologize. But we'll see if we can answer some of your questions. This is just a day in the life of my morning routine. Today I slept in because, man, I've been working so much lately. And today was a day that I had, at least I thought I had, a little bit of time that I could just relax this morning. Take it a little easy. Okay. Let's take, actually, you know what? I'm going to take out an earpiece. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can answer some of your questions. Because you got me for free right here, right now. Okay. Well, Octavio, I hope you like your blender. Earthman says, I liked it. Beets and natto. I really love beets too. Yeah, I know, it's pretty surprising. They look like perfect together. Beetroot and carrots have starch in them. GMO food? No, it's not GMO. No seeds. Okay, LOL. He also has a pagan ritual. No idea what that means. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what a pagan ritual is, because I don't even know what that is. What is a pagan ritual? Some scholars consider pagan rituals to be a form of folk art, like in particular to theater by virtue of the performative nature of ritual, the use of props such as wands, candles, incense. I don't have any of those. I don't know what, I'm a little confused here. Costumes in the form of ritual dresses, and staging in the form of creation of the magic circle. I don't know. I have no idea what that comment means, but okay. Jimmy Harris says, are you not using hemp hearts? Yeah, brother. Just put them in. Annette says, hello, Greg. Thank you for all you do. Oh, you're very welcome. So, okay, I guess no real questions today other than people thinking something about pagan stuff. But yes, definitely the hemp hearts. Yeah, it's not as, it's a little more chunky. Not that chunky, but I could have blended it more. But it's definitely delicious. You can taste the freshness. Damone Daniel says, do you use tap water in the distiller? I don't, but you can. In fact, here, hold on. All right, so look. When you use tap water, you have to do it differently. These lab reports were based on tap water running through the distiller with this filter also. So at the end of the distillation process, it goes through this last little tiny carbon filter. I don't do that. I run my water, because I have an RO system also. I have every water filtration system basically there is. So I just use the RO, and then I don't need to use this. You know, this I'll use if I was gonna do only tap water. So no, I'm not running straight tap water through it. But this is so good that you could. So like, I think I've already shown a lot of the results and stuff, but I don't know, there's pages and pages of stuff. But you can see the previous, and this is all tap water, all the chemicals, and then after the distillation with carbon, they're down to 0. Same thing over here. Pretty much same thing on every page. So, yeah, it's by far the best way to clean your water, in my personal opinion. I do a lot of homework when it comes to getting health right. And I don't let money sway me. Where I've noticed a lot of people involved in health, I'm not gonna throw any names, but I've seen a lot of people who just, you know, promote things they never use, or promote 200 different products that they clearly don't use. I'm actually showing you guys what I use. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to see, I know flax seeds have something really special in them. They have so many different types of omegas. Super high in fiber too. They're saying that it most likely helps with cholesterol levels, blood pressure levels. They have really good amount of protein, lower blood sugar, high in fiber, reduces your risk of cancer, is high in omegas, on and on it goes. Yeah, they're really amazing. Okay, guys, well, unless you have any other questions, I'll probably say goodbye here. But yes, you can run tap water through your distiller, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys. It's good, but I know that, I guess I know if I blended it longer. Fred says, thanks for all the info, Greg. Oh, you're very welcome. I know I could make it finer by blending it longer. It's not a huge deal, but I mean, I could. Earthman says, thanks. You're welcome, guys. So many questions, though. I'm surprised people don't ask. You can see, don't I have another lab report? Yeah, I have another one on other water filters, like carbon filters and even reverse osmosis, how, you know, unfortunately they're not as good. They do some, but it all depends how perfect you want to be, or how serious you are about your health, or even in my personal experience, healing, you know, overcoming certain, not mental issues, physical issues that affect your mental state, because that's been a huge thing that's been happening, not just in my own experience, but people who I've spoken to. And it's quite impressive how much this plays a role with your head. Jason Jones says, have a great day. Oh yeah, Jason, you sent me some emails. Thanks for those. I just kind of took a quick glance. I didn't have a ton of time. Maybe today I'll have more time. And okay, I'm gonna assume there's no other questions, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodbye. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Oh, Jimmy Harris does have a question. He says, why did you switch to vacuum blending? Well, because the data, because there actually is data showing that after you blend it, your nutrients can maybe be here, but when you vacuum blend the same exact thing, the nutrients are up here. So it appears that sucking the oxygen out, and it makes a lot of sense to me actually now, that when you're cutting them up, they're just like an apple. You know what, this is a good example. Think of an apple. When you finally cut it, it begins to oxidize. When it's not cut, it's not oxidized. But if you had an apple in a vacuum, where you suck the air out of it and you were to cut it, it probably wouldn't oxidize. Or it would oxidize at a much slower rate. And that's why I started doing the vacuum blending. Because the vacuum blender sucks the oxygen out. The food, the smoothie definitely tastes different. Even the color is different. And it tastes like just more fresh, less oxidized. Almost like a nice banana versus when it's all brown and oxidized. So I'm doing it for more nutrients and just better for me. But there's also other added benefits, like apparently you get less gassy. You don't suck in as much air into the smoothies. And I've noticed less bloating, so I did notice that. And I just think that it's gonna enhance the whole hydrogen protocol, personally. That's why I did it. I don't know if that answers your question, Jimmy, but yeah. Earthman says, where do you see proof that distilled water doesn't pull important minerals from the body? Well, Earthman, I could ask you the same question. Where do you see proof that it does? You know, a lot of people don't realize, for example, if you're so worried about minerals being pulled out, here's some new data for you. Japanese discovered that processed sugars, and when I say processed, they can be cane sugar that's been processed, coconut sugar that's been processed, just normal sugar, or even high corn fructose corn syrup. These type of sugars are in almost all food. That actually pulls minerals out of your body and actually makes you deficient in those minerals. That's interesting because you're worried about water, but everything that I've researched, including nature itself, and I've tried it on plants too, they love distilled water. Now, for me personally, the reason I went with it is just because it's cleaner. Look, I've seen, well, here, I'll just show you another. This one's not as good, but I can show it to you. Let's see here. Got all my different stuff here. How about this one? Yeah. Basically, everybody argues about water, and a lot of people don't realize about the difference between organic contaminants, inorganic contaminants, even organic minerals versus inorganic minerals. And one of the things that I can tell you is, this is something that's very important. So there's inorganic contaminants. There's even radioactive contaminants. This one I didn't even think about. Biological contaminants and organic contaminants. Now, normal filters are not going to remove all viruses, all bacteria, all parasites. They're just not going to do that. And radioactive contaminants, they're not going to remove that either. This type of system, look at the lab report. It was so impressive. I mean, they had a whole thing on radioactive contaminants, eliminated over 99% or over 99.8%, which was extremely impressive. And then biological contaminants, completely 99.9%. It was, and then after it went through this process, non-detected. And I mean, we're talking about, again, bacteria, parasites, worms, like really gross stuff that can be in your water. I just want clean water. That's why I did it. I just wanted clean water, and it's worked really great for me, so that's why I did it. Okay, let's see. Damone Daniel says, should you detox or fast before starting with the hydrogen? In my personal opinion, because remember, this is not medical advice, definitely not. Because what I would do is I would do the hydrogen protocol for a while and prepare the body. Anytime you're going to do a fast, in my personal opinion, you should prepare the body, because fasting depletes your body of nutrients and minerals, all sorts of stuff. And you're probably going to want to load up on these nutrients so that when you are fasting, your body will utilize all those nutrients. And when you're done with the fast, you load up on nutrients again. And when you do finally decide to do a fast, what I would personally do, it's unbelievable. Almost nobody talks about it. Nobody knows practically about it. And I wouldn't do this with any other piece of equipment. it would absolutely have to be extremely high purity of equipment, and that is to do the hydrogen fast. So once you load up on nutrients, you get your body going with the hydrogen, then do a hydrogen water fast, even do inhalation. Unbelievable. It just takes fasting to a whole new level. So it's pretty impressive. Eva Moreno says, how does hydrogen improve your way of thinking? Well, just remember, you want blood getting into all the nooks and crannies. So blood opens up ghost, or the hydrogen opens up the ghost vessels. You want the good nutrients in your blood though anyway. And the way just the hydrogen moves the blood, deals with all the free radicals, I seem to have like a better memory. I'm actually surprised a lot of the stuff that I remember now. I feel a lot more stable than I used to. And the way that it's impacting others, nutrients are important too though, not just the hydrogen. But bringing down the inflammation also, and the free radicals that hydrogen can do is pretty amazing. Solomon Bonilla says, hello, hombre hidrógeno. Thanks for your kind words of and wisdom. Your work is highly appreciated, King Solomon. Thank you, Solomon. Eva Moreno says, does your cognitive way thinking gets better? Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I'm using, the vitamin Ds, the borons, all your B complex, all your nutrients with proper hydration of super clean water with the hydrogen, I mean, this combination, yes, absolutely. Earthman says, cool, Japanese study on processed sugar. Yeah, it was very, very interesting. I'm thinking about doing a whole video on it if I have time. Warfare War says, is hydrogen good for ligament health? Or is there any study on hydrogen effects on ligaments? Well, okay, let's check real quick. Personally, I think, well, I won't tell you what I think. Let's just get you some data. But you have to understand what feeds the ligaments, and yeah, so it says there's numerous information. National Library of Medicine, how hydrogen treatment reduces tendon adhesion and inflammatory response. There was one from NCBI, which is, again, the National Center of Biotechnology Information. They're actually questioning whether hydrogen therapy should be included in musculoskeletal medicine routines. I could see how that would also have an impact on ligaments. Hydrogen reducing inflammation, absolutely. Oh, even molecular hydrogen for soft tissue injuries, or molecular hydrogen for promoting wound healing. That's from Biomed. It does so by inducing early epidermal stem cell proliferation. Look at that, an extracellular matrix deposition. So absolutely, in my personal opinion, based on this data, yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, in my personal opinion, no medical advice, but yeah, I think the answer's pretty clear on that. Solomon Bonilla says, thanks God we have organic farmers in this crazy times. I would agree. Eva says, are you supposed to feel more energetic when you do the hydrogen protocol? How long did it take for you to notice? Well, it depends. I mean, look, we already know scientifically that it does what it does. Now, some people, if people are, I don't know, drinking a lot of wine, eating a bunch of, big steaks, maybe no vegetables or no fiber, or, it just depends. But I think that there's going to be other aspects of your life, even just drinking enough water. So, but I mean, the big differences typically take like the good 6 to 8 months. I've seen people have benefits before that, of course. But I mean, for like really, the average peak, 6 to 8 months of a proper protocol. And then you notice the biggest difference. I've known people who will do it, and they're like, oh, I feel fine. Then they go off to hydrogen, and they're like, okay, I didn't realize how much it was doing for me. So that really makes a big difference too. So yes. Alrighty, guys. If there's no more questions, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. Finish my smoothie here. And I'll see you guys next time on the next one. Thanks for all the thumbs up, by the way. How about somebody? Oh, there's one right there. 11 thumbs up. That's a lucky number, right? All right, guys, I'll see you guys next time on the next one.